Hey everybody, I'm ZeldaMaster, and I'm here with some more hype. As in this video, we're going to be taking a look at some new Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity footage. And this was revealed to us during the Game Live Japan event that happened just now. During my time, it was 3 AM, so I'm pretty tired recording this, but the hype of some new footage of Age of Calamity has me going. And I kind of want to give my reaction to the new footage, as it's kind of fun just to kind of commentate over gameplay that's not mine. It's like a let's play, but I'm not actually playing the game, I'm just commentating. And yeah, until we actually get the game, this will be a fun alternative to kind of showcase the gameplay and give you guys my opinions, because there is a lot to see in this bit of gameplay that we do get. And as we can see, Link is taking on a moblin. It's kind of interesting to see these moblins be such a threat, as it is considered a mini boss here with the HP on the top of the screen, so it's kind of like a Hinox or other overworld bosses you see in Breath of the Wild, but in this game it's just like a general. And the reason for that is because I feel like there won't be that many you know, unique enemies, so they're gonna have to take these more basic enemies and make them stronger by increasing their size, as some of the bokoblins are bigger than Link, but some of them are smaller, so like the variation in size is all over the place. But here we're playing as Paya, I'm kidding, Impa. Everybody seems to want to mention how Impa looks exactly like Paya, which makes sense because, yeah, Impa is Paya's grandmother, so I don't think that's anything too crazy. You know, her genes are just really strong and happened to really show in Paya. But okay, yes, we can see a new mechanic here, a Breath of the Wild staple, and that is Link paragliding. Obviously, that paragliding there was just, you know, for show. I think it's not going to be a mechanic we're going to use to traverse high areas. It's just going to be to, you know, move really fast. And here's another new mechanic, and that is Magnesis. I mean, another Breath of the Wild staple, but I don't think we've really seen this put to use in gameplay. So it's cool that Link can manipulate the objects around him and kill the enemies. But what is really cool is that this area we're seeing, and actually we can also see Impa using the Magnesis here. She uses it in a cooler way by like gathering a bunch of tools and whatnot. And Impa has a lot of actual like really interesting and unique gameplay that I'm so excited to see. Like, she is straight up a Naruto character with all of her abilities. I mean, obviously the Sheikah have always been very ninja-like, but yeah, she takes it to the extreme in every single way. Obviously, she has her clones, as you can see, but look at this. She can ride a Cryonosis ice cube like nothing. Like, she's just sitting down. It looks so hilarious. Like, when I first saw that, I was actually laughing. So, yeah, I love Impa and how flashy she is and everything about her abilities. And I do like her character design, even though it is a spitting copy of Paya, her granddaughter. But yeah, we just saw another Sheikah rune, and that is Stasis. I think it's really cool that all of the characters can use these abilities. So not only will it be Impa, but it will also be all of the champions, and here we can see Link using it as well. So Stasis, pretty much what's going to happen is these Sheikah abilities, the reason why all characters can use it is because it's going to replace the main abilities that were used in Hyrule Warriors. As in Hyrule Warriors, you got old traditional Zelda items, and they were key items to kill certain bosses. So in this game, it's going to be replaced, as Breath of the Wild replaced those key items Zelda had with Sheikah runes, and they're going to do the same with Hyrule Warriors, as they're going to replace the old Hyrule Warriors key items with the Sheikah runes being the key ways to kill certain enemies and having to, you know, use it at a certain time. But here we saw Link use the opposite element to kill a Wizrobe, and I do like how while the items do break, it just looks like you're wearing out the item because they're like special items. At least the sword Link's using isn't gonna break, but the way they kind of snuck in that whole item breaking mechanic is Link using something like the Ice Rod, as we're going to see here. And as he charges it, it's going to slowly, you know, ruin its durability, and he'll have to pick up a new one from a different enemy. But I feel like that works, and it's balanced because that is a really strong weapon. As you just saw, the AoE is real nice. But here we got a huge size difference of a Bokoblin. I do like how the size difference varies, but still, this looks ridiculous when they're that big. And we can see Link having to use, again, what I meant by a key item. It's the key Sheikah rune to take on a boss, and that is using the Magnesis at the exact moment the game tells you, and then Link will be able to kind of, you know, hit him back with it. So I think this is really cool. But here, instead, the player that we're, you know, seeing gameplay of is going to decide to use an Ice Rod and then kill him. And what is really cool here, and what they also changed from Hyrule Warriors, the original one, is when you stun an enemy after, like, you know, doing a special attack or breaking the gauge that, you know, ruins their defense, it allows you to then choose to do the special attack right after instead of being forced to do so. But okay, here is the last bit of gameplay before they decide to cut to a new set of gameplay, and that is Link against a Guardian. And as we're going to see, obviously to take on a Guardian you have to parry. I'm assuming it's going to work exactly like it did in Breath of the Wild, which is just timing. But immediately after they showed us that, they're like, you know what, no, scratch that. We're done showing you guys gameplay of that because they didn't want to spoil anything. But they pretty much said all you need to do is parry on time, and that is the mechanic. But I guess they didn't want us to see more than that. But luckily, we do have more gameplay than that, and that is of Daruk, which we're gonna see now. Alright, and here we go. Check it out. The big boy, the tubby Daruk. He is very slow, but luckily he can roll, you know, like a Goron. I'm immediately getting Majora's Mask vibes of rolling around in the Goron Mask. I feel like in Hyrule Warriors you could do it as well, the original one, but I feel like it's much more crucial in this one, as we're gonna see there's a lot cooler abilities when it comes to using Daruk's role. So I'm excited. Obviously Daruk, with him being a Goron, he uses rock and fire. If he was like a Pokemon, that'd be his typing. But yeah, he is essentially just, you know, using a bunch of AoE abilities, as he's a very slow character, as you can tell. So I don't think he would be that fun to play as, at least in my playstyle. Let me know if you think Daruk looks fun, but just looking at this, it looks pretty slow paced. Even that, see, that roll looked really cool. I like how you can manipulate the you know, ground around you and then use that structure you know, created to then roll on it. So pretty creative. But I do also love how your objective is the exact same objective marker as Breath of the Wild. Like, obviously the whole HUD is based off of Breath of the Wild style, but to me that's just so nice. And as you can see, when Daruk decides to shield himself, he has his protection, and it is really nice to see. I wonder if it gives him full. It probably does. I think you break it. It looks like Daruk has a gauge as well, so maybe Daruk is that strong where he literally has like infinite defense until you like break his shield. But I'm not entirely sure, as I couldn't really see him get hit. I mean, the enemies are very basic. If you played a Warriors game, it's a lot of button mashing, very senseless button mashing, but it is satisfying if you like hack and slash button mashing. So it is very dependent on the person playing the game and whether they like that or not. But here's a satisfying finisher kill of Daruk, just killing that moblin. Again, it is weird to see moblins be such a threat. They're so easy in Breath of the Wild, yet here they're like main general like enemies where Gorons are struggling. And as you can tell also, your allies are kind of stupid. I hope they attack more than they did in the original Hyrule Warriors, because in the original Hyrule Warriors they would just stand still until they die. So hopefully you don't have to, like, you know, babysit every single general if you want them to stay alive. That got really annoying in the original game. But okay, Daruk using some Magnesis, really flashy and cool. Again, yeah, like I've mentioned before, it is meant to be used to take on these bigger enemies, as it will, you know, break their weak point, and then you can kind of quickly destroy him. But here he's breaking the weak point. He's about to break it nice, and then you could choose to click the button if you want to, which he finally did, and then there you go. Success. The Moblin has been defeated. And yeah, I love how Death Mountain is pretty much a exact replica. I don't know if it's to scale, because Daruk looks a bit too big to be walking around here, but the fact that it's the same pathway and you're going to pretty much, you know, re-explore Breath of the Wild's landscape, but with a bunch of enemies surrounding you and just, you know, slaughtering as you go along. But it's so cool because literally you're going to see in a bit as they're going to eventually reach Goron City as they traverse Death Mountain, and Goron City looks exactly like it did in Breath of the Wild, but just in this game. And to me that is so fascinating. I really hope all of the areas get to be re-explored in this game. So even areas that don't really have tribes like the main 4 we know of in Breath of the Wild, like maybe Hebra. I'd like to see Hebra as well, looking exactly like how it did, but obviously not completely destroyed. Luckily Goron City stayed intact. It's, you know, just rock houses, and also Death Mountain in general didn't really get affected from the Great Calamity, so it's gonna look exactly like how it did from the original Breath of the Wild. But yeah, again, a Moblin causing a bunch of trouble. But here I believe is the Muso of Daruk, and by Muso I mean like his special ability, which takes his special meter. I call it Muso because that's what it was called in the original Dynasty Warriors, so it's just like I'm used to it because I grew up playing Dynasty Warriors. I played Dynasty Warriors my whole life, and obviously I played Zelda, so this is why I love this combination. I honestly would make jokes saying, imagine a game like this. I never believed it would come out. So to me, this is truly like a dream come true when Hyrule Warriors first came out. And then I made a comparison of imagine a Breath of the Wild version of Hyrule Warriors, and we got that as well. I feel like I'm not the only one who thought of this, obviously, but okay. Anyways, let's not get too off topic. I do want to focus on the gameplay here, because yes, here's obviously, this happens in Breath of the Wild, and obviously the references from Death Mountain from Ocarina of Time, but yes, Daruk is clearly needed here, and they do mention that the Daruk is needed to traverse this trail, because this is Death Mountain Trail, and you got to protect yourself. I think this is so cool, and the fact that some characters are very important for certain areas. Obviously Daruk being Death Mountain makes sense. This is his, you know, land, this is his place, but just the fact that you do have to use certain characters to traverse areas adds a lot more to it, and will make, you know, each character you choose mean more to that stage. But yeah, now we can see a fire Moblin. So I kept saying how the Moblins are so deadly. Well, this one's even deadlier, as there's a straight up aura of fire surrounding it. It makes sense that it would be in Death Mountain. Obviously, if Daruk does use ice-like abilities, it will be much easier, which I do believe they have. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Okay, I literally spoke of it, and there we go. I love, look at the way Daruk holds the magic rod, by the way, the ice rod. It looks so delicate and hilarious. He like has to hold it with like 2 of his fingers so lightly, like it's just a small little thing that's gonna snap. So yeah, pay attention, I guess, next time Daruk uses it. But okay, now we're switching to Impa instead now. So again with the amazing what's it called, clone abilities. But I believe the way the clones work, and they do mention this as well in the gameplay, is you have to just charge it up. It's kind of like if you played Hyrule Warriors, a lot of characters had abilities you had to charge up just by killing enemies, and then you can spawn more clones the more you charge it up, but it will eventually wear out over time. So you want to make sure when you have a lot of clones to use your most powerful abilities, because the clones will just add additional damage to it. So this is like the basic, just having 2 around you. But I believe once it is charged up even further, which as you can see, this Lizolfo has a mark on it, and there you go, Impa got another charge. So there you go, a lot more clones have been added to the mix. And honestly, I'd rather just see Impa gameplay right now. Impa's a lot more interesting than the other 2 characters, how fast and flashy she is. But yeah, here we're seeing her against a lightning rod wielding Lizolf or Wizrobe, and all you got to do is just trigger the special abilities to do something strong and quickly kill the enemy, because the enemies, especially the mini bosses, have a lot of defense, so you got to do that. But here, okay, again we can see that she charges or she loses. It just depends on, I guess, how consistent you're attacking enemies. I'm not entirely sure if you can preserve her clones if you're just like running throughout the map or whatnot, or if it's gonna want you to be constantly fighting enemies. That I'm uncertain of, because I haven't actually played the game, and I don't know if they actually mentioned that in full detail. When I was watching the stream, I did watch it with English translation, but they weren't really translating as often, and or maybe just the Koei Tecmo developers weren't mentioning that much into the gameplay itself. But yeah, I'm gonna be sure to like learn every single character's ability. Let's just say that. I was gonna say Impa especially, because let's be honest, I mean, everyone's so excited for Impa. It's not just me, because it's cool to see such a main Zelda character given a new look in a canon sense, because yeah, we only saw Impa as being old in Breath of the Wild, which, usually Impa is depicted as old, but in Breath of the Wild, it was the oldest we've ever seen her, so it's nice to see her young, because I really like the dynamic that she had in Skyward Sword, and I feel like that's how they should normally portray Impa, as, young, so she can get stuff done with the rest of the team. But look at this, okay, I love this, the jujitsu, moves and the hand movements that just remind me of Naruto. Like, everything about it is so badass. But okay, so this, I believe now you can tell she's completely charged up. She has all of her clones with her, and she goes crazy with damage, especially when she does any special ability, because all of her clones will immediately join in that special ability, which I do believe they're going to make sure to show at the very end of this gameplay. But look at that, wow, everything she does looks so good. I'm sure it references more than just like Mazquishia, like obviously the Yiga, there'll be references like this here, I mean, is completely unique, the whole barrel that explodes, I think it's super badass. But yeah, I don't know, I love how they're showing it, but they know that Impa is the most interesting character right now they have for us to watch. But yeah, either way, I just can't wait to see her dynamic with the characters, because I feel like she is usually just the old lady of the series, so it's nice that she's not given that this time around. And I'm not saying she was never not, because they're not going to have time again. She was young. I wasn't just Skyward Sword, but still, this is really cool. Okay, so here we're seeing Impa's Muso with all of the clones available that she can get, and it's so intense and insane. Yeah, that was amazing. I love how apples immediately get cooked if they fall on the floor. Obviously, you could pick up food, and they mentioned that you can cook in this game. That will be a feature. But yeah, okay, anyways, oh, here's new gameplay actually of Link holding a spear. Yes, Link can be given different weapons than just a sword. This shouldn't have been too much of a surprise, because the original Hyrule Warriors, Link could literally have a great fairy control him in a bottle. There was some crazy weapons and abilities in the original Hyrule Warriors. So seeing Link use traditional Breath of the Wild weapons he used in the game makes sense. And I think this is going to be a key thing until you get the Master Sword. I'm sure the Master Sword will be like the strongest main weapon, kind of like how they had it in the original Hyrule Warriors. But until then, it will just be all the random weapons you use throughout Breath of the Wild, like, spears, random swords, double-handed swords like what this Moblin's using, etc., etc. And it will be nice until you do get the Master Sword. I'm sure the Master Sword will just be like every Zelda game where you get it halfway through the game. I think Link got it when he was a kid, so we know Link is just retrieving it, if that makes sense. And The reason for that, it might be just because Link didn't want to use up the Master Sword's power. As you know, in Breath of the Wild, the Master Sword literally gets used up while you, just fight off enemies. So instead of Link using up the power when he doesn't need to because he's not facing Ganon, he might have just placed it in the pedestal after he was 12, because that's when he originally picked it up in Breath of the Wild's, like, timeline. That Link found the Master Sword when he was 12, and in this game we're not playing as a 12-year-old, so clearly Link is just gonna re-pick up the Master Sword with all the champions with him, because we literally see in the trailer that was revealed yesterday that Link is in Korok Forest with all of the champions. So that may be the time when he switches his outfit, switches his main weapon, which will be the Master Sword, and just gears up to that champion Link we knew before he lost the battle in the Great Calamity. But okay, here, perfect timing to kind of end off what I was talking about there, because we're in a Goron City, and it is a spitting image of Goron City. It looks so good. Obviously, there are enemies here, which you won't normally see in Goron City unless you, like, glitch them in or something, but, wow, it is amazing. Sadly, the houses, they seem to be closed. Obviously, they don't want to have you enter them. There's no reason, especially with how these games are structured. You can't really climb on top of things or anything, but you can see that, yep, their houses are there. Everything's intact. Some nice chests that you can find and pick up as you just explore, but it's insane that the scale, I mean, it seems a bit smaller, or maybe just Link moves so fast, things seem smaller, but the fact that the actual structure itself is identical is amazing. And then here they're going to show off a really nice thing. So outside of the little cute egg guardian that does follow Link, that, like I said, is probably Link's companion, like proxy from the original Hyrule Warriors, just there to speak for Link and I guess help him with other things they may not know about. But here they show off, yes, the statues. I wonder if, like, any of this was, all of these assets were just straight up ripped from Breath of the Wild and just put into this game. But here we can see a fort created. There wasn't a fort here, so some areas are altered to be a battlefield, because this would have been another narrow pathway. But that is actually where they end it. Completely lost track of how long this gameplay was, but was so interested in just, yeah, it was amazing to watch, and amazing to watch a second time while commentating and talking to you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think of the gameplay. I know people are disappointed, saying, ah, man, Hyrule Warriors is a very cheap style game, and there's, you know, not going to be much fun to it if you're not someone who loves hack and slash or grinding in video games, which I personally do, because I grew up on it, and just in general I do like it. But for those who don't, and just, you know, I think it's still worth giving a chance. It's going to be a game that has really good story, that alone will hook you to each chapter. And I mean, the game will be flashy. I'm sure it will get boring for most players after their first or second playthrough, or just probably in the middle of their first playthrough. But I'll tell you this, the story alone, I feel like, will make it worth it. And on top of it, I do believe that, you know, this is an extra thing until Breath of the Wild 2. Like, Breath of the Wild 2 will give us everything we want from a Zelda game. I feel like if you look at it as just like how Mario spin-offs are in the Mario series, then this is a good thing. Because a lot of people, I feel like, just see this as a bad thing because it's like a Zelda game that should be canon, but the gameplay isn't Zelda-like. But again, if you just don't treat it like a Zelda game in the main series and just a spin-off that we can get and tell the main one in the series, it is very, very appreciated and accepted, and I really hope we get more stuff like this Zelda related from Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I love waiting until the next big Breath of the Wild game. Like, Breath of the Wild 2 will probably be so amazing it will be worth this wait, but I kind of like the idea of spin-offs, and I hope we continue to get more. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that if you decide to listen to this extra bit in the end of the video, and which character you're most excited to play as in this upcoming Hyrule Warriors game. For me, obviously, as you may know, I said Impa, or I would say Urbosa. Urbosa's up there as well. Really excited to use her because she's my favorite champion. So those are my two, but let me know what you guys want, and what you'd like to see. Obviously, I'd love to see Purah and Robbie. So I hope we get that, but I don't know what else. Let me know what you guys really want to see from Breath of the Wild's past be introduced in this game, and maybe as a playable character. People say Baby Sidon. I feel like that won't happen because he's a baby, so please chill on that if that's your answer. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me not drag the video any longer, and do expect a lot more videos in the future, not just Hyrule Warriors, but all Zelda-like videos. So yeah, just be sure to subscribe so you guys are updated. Anyways, I've been ZeldaMaster, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!